Happy Friday, Smiles Tribe. I want to talk about the difference between dry scalp, dandruff, and having more other scalp conditions like psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, and eczema. Because, a lot of clients come into the salons and we kind of use these terms like interchangeably. And I get it because, if you're not a professional and you haven't been educated on terminology, you don't really know. But I really want to break down in this video, learning the difference when it comes to identifying, like, if you're just dealing with dry scalp, or is this more of a serious issue. And I got to give the credit where the credit is due. Is a YouTuber, and I love how he gave analogies related to food based on how you can determine if it's dry scalp, dandruff, or if you're having a more serious scalp condition. I think his name is Glam. It's called Glam Channel or something like that. I can't remember, but he gave a really good explanation on this, and I want to share my perspective too as a licensed professional. So if you are dealing with dry scalp, your flakes is going to be similar to, they're going to be really, really small, fine flakes. So sometimes, like, after a period of time, your hair is dry, your flakes are going to be really, really small and fine. And as your flakes are going to be similar to like salt, like table salt, like the iodized table salt, your flakes are going to be similar to that. That's just with dry scalp. And with dry scalp, that can be cured, that's pretty simple. That can be cured with just using a moisturizing or hydrating shampoo. So you can get the honey mimosa shampoo off my website, or you can get the coconut milk shampoo off my website. That will help with that dry scalp. Okay, and dry scalp is sometimes too, a lot of these things what I'm gonna talk about is something going on the inside of the body, and it's probably dealing with how you practice with taking care of your hair, like just regular hygiene, like how often are you shampooing, and if you're getting water intake and stuff. So that's dry scalp. So if your flakes are really, really, they're very, very tiny, they're not big, they're very, very tiny, but if you need like a visual example, table salt. Now the next one is you might have dandruff. Okay, then dandruff is a little bit different. Dandruff is going to be similar to dry grits. Okay, I'm from the South. Listen, I eat my grits with cheese, butter, salt, and pepper. Now if you eat your grits with sugar, God bless you. Because it's always a debate about sugar and grits, butter and grits, but I don't know. I am from Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and that's how I grew up eating them. But anyway, that's besides the point. Let me get back to what I was saying. So dandruff is going to be the size of grits. Like if you ever see like dry grits in a container. Now if you got dandruff, this can be you can ease these symptoms by using like a dandruff shampoo. So something like the rosemary shampoo, I have that on my website. You can purchase the rosemary shampoo. That's really, really good for dandruff. There's other dandruff shampoos out there that you can use that will help with that. Now if you use the rosemary shampoo and you have dandruff and you also deal with dry scalp, I would say after you use that dandruff shampoo, the rosemary shampoo, or if you use another dandruff shampoo, you want to follow up with a moisturizing shampoo. So don't just use just the rosemary and that's it. I want you to follow up with a moisturizing shampoo. So your first shampoo going to be the dandruff shampoo. The second shampoo is going to be your moisturizing one. And that's going to be your honey mimosa or the coconut milk shampoo that you can purchase off my website. Y'all, just pulled up the Bojangles. It's been a while since I had Bojangles, and I don't know if I'm gonna regret this, but I'm gonna get me a grilled chicken biscuit. Hopefully it won't tear my stomach out the frame. In case y'all wanted to know. All right, so the third condition that we're talking about is it's gonna be more intense. Now, when it comes to these scalp conditions, I will say you will need to seek a medical professional. Okay, I know it's professional. I know the word is professional, but you will need to see a medical professional. And when we start dealing with psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, and eczema in the scalp, those are things that as a licensed hairstylist that I cannot treat. But I can identify it, and I can work alongside with your dermatologist. I can work alongside with your primary care physician to help with these symptoms. Hold on, y'all. All right, y'all. I just ordered me a grilled chicken biscuit and some bow rounds. I don't know if I'm gonna regret this later. Y'all know how it is. But anyway, okay. So what I was saying is we can work alongside with I can work alongside with your dermatologist or your primary care physician. Now, how do you know if you, and again, I'm not a medical professional, but with years of experience of doing hair and seeing this on people's scalp, I can identify like, oh, you got this problem, so you might need to, not you got this problem, but you have this condition, so let me refer you to a dermatologist or your physician. So when it comes to psoriasis, eczema, and seborrheic dermatitis, these flakes are going to look bigger, okay? These are going to be bigger flakes. These flakes are going to resemble oatmeal, okay? So dry oatmeal, how it looks flaky, your flakes are going to be relative along those size flakes. So with that means that you will need more of medical help. Now, there are some things that you can do at home to treat it, like natural remedies. I've seen some people do like apple cider vinegar rinses. But I will say you want to be mindful doing that, because some of that, depending on what kind of condition you have, can actually make your situation worse. That's why you will need to go to a medical professional, because if you put that on your scalp, where's my card? If you put that on your scalp, like I said, you can make your situation a lot worse. And I got nervous because I couldn't find my debit card. Homeboy got all the way out his truck. Now I'm in the drive-thru. Homeboy got all the way out his truck to get the person their card. Like, sir, get in your car. Your truck ain't that big, sir. Look at me all in somebody's business. So your flakes are going to be bigger. So and here's another thing. You can be like, Lisa, my scalp is dry, but it's oily. So I've seen people who have an oily scalp, but they still have flakes. Sometimes this is like in the psoriasis family, and back me up, go to your doctor and back me up on this. But if you have oily flakes, that means your oil gland, like you overproduce a lot of oils in your scalp already, and that's what's causing the flaking. So the flakes are going to be kind of moist. Yeah, the flakes going to be a little moist, okay? They're going to have a little moisture, and they're going to be really oily, okay? So sometimes with that can be cured with a clarifying shampoo. Sometimes when you have those flakes, and again, if you use the clarifying shampoo, yes, it is going to strip it some, because it's going to do what it needs to do, because you overproduce a lot of those oil glands. So you need something that's going to strip it just a little bit, but then you can follow up with a very lightweight hydrating shampoo, okay? But again, That could be a quick fix for at home until you get to a dermatologist. All right, y'all, we secured the bag. Bojangles sent me a check. I ain't had Bojangles in months, so that's why I said y'all pray for me. I hope I did good with the grilled chicken biscuit. Okay, so now y'all gonna have to forgive me. Y'all gonna have to forgive me because I done did a whole lot of, I done paused the video and I'm talking about random stuff. So y'all forgive me. Y'all forgive Tony Gaskin, so y'all forgive me. So yeah, you could do a little temporary fix with a clarifying shampoo. Sometimes that does help alleviate the problem until you can get to a dermatologist. The other issue you could have is eczema on the scalp. Sometimes with eczema, those flakes can be dry. You'll see those flakes dry, and they don't lift off the scalp easily. They're kind of stuck to the scalp a little bit. Sometimes with the oily flakes, those are more so lift up pretty easily, but with the dry flakes, sometimes they don't come up quickly. And when it comes to eczema on the scalp, you will need to see a dermatologist or your primary care so they can recommend a shampoo. But there are some over-the-counter shampoos that have worked for some of my clients like that. Some of my clients use Nazarol. I think Neutrogena has like a tea gel shampoo, and even some of these shampoos will work for psoriasis, like the Nazarol. What's the other brand I've seen people use? Because I'm based on some of the brands I've seen my clients use who've been prescribed. But those can be a quick fix. But again, before you take any of this information, you're like, oh, let me just go buy Nazarol. Let me just go buy this. No, you want to talk to a doctor because you want to make sure you're getting the right one. I have some clients who use Nazarol. I have some clients who use like a tea gel by Neutrogena, like a charcoal or a black tar shampoo. So they're based on whatever they got going on with their hair is the shampoo that their dermatologist recommend. So also too, if you have eczema in the scalp, just have eczema in your scalp, you want to be very careful with using shampoos and conditioners and products on your scalp that are heavily scented too, because they can cause eczema flare up. I know this because I have eczema, and sometimes I will get a flare like right here along my hairline. I'll start to flake. So sometimes it's like if I switch, face products, and sometimes like the scent or something might irritate it. But I definitely have a cream from my doctor that helps with when I have flare-ups and stuff like that. I know shea butter is really good for eczema. If you have flare-ups, shea butter has a lot of natural properties. It's good for helping with sealing that moisture with eczema. But again, if you're having more of these serious conditions, you want to go to a professional. And then also I want to say this: if you're someone and you already deal with like excessive dry scalp and a lot of dandruff and stuff like that, I really want to bring this point home, because I see a lot of the girls are wearing the knotless box sprays, and I see a lot of these braiders putting gel on y'all scalp. They would take this gel and slather it right on your scalp, and their reason is because they want to get the part straight. And y'all gotta start letting these braiders put gel on y'all scalp. Yeah, especially if you have psoriasis, eczema, seborrheic dermatitis, they do not need to be putting on your scalp. Now, I wouldn't want them to put on your scalp even if you didn't have those conditions. But more importantly, if you're someone and you definitely don't want them putting gel on your scalp, because those fragrances sometimes in the gel, and that gel is just going to just block any kind of moisture. It is going to just irritate it even more. So make sure y'all not letting these braiders put gel on your scalp. They can put it close to the root, but they shouldn't be putting gel on your scalp like how they greasing your scalp. Y'all remember old school grease on your scalp? That's another thing. Don't let them put gel on your scalp like they greasing it. And another thing I want to say too, y'all always hear me say like, or if you're new here, you probably don't know, but I have always coached to, I do not recommend people greasing their scalp, like putting Blue Magic and putting Sulfur 8 on their scalp. I do not coach that to the masses, but I do have some clients who are exceptions to the rule. Don't think you're exception to the rule because you watch this, unless you've been to a medical professional. I have about maybe 2 or 3 clients of mine who have been to a dermatologist, and their dermatologist have prescribed for them to put Sulfur 8 on their scalp because of their scalp issue. And I have other clients where it's not Blue Magic, but their dermatologists have prescribed an actual ointment, and the ointment, it does look like your old school grease, but it's a medicated ointment. So I also want to say too, if you have like psoriasis or whatever it is, don't just be going out and just randomly buying Sulfur 8 and putting it on your scalp if you have not been directed by a medical professional to do it, because some of y'all are probably you might just have regular dry scalp, and you're treating your scalp like you have psoriasis and eczema, and it's actually going to just make your situation worse. So that's why when it comes to greasing your scalp and all of that, you want to be advised by a medical professional that you should be putting it on your scalp, because that could actually be doing you more harm than good. All right, so I hope this explanation, I was able to break it down a little bit so you can understand more and really identify, okay, what's really my issue, what does my scalp really need. And I also want to say this, sometimes, you might have certain flare-ups based on the foods you eat. So if you with some people who have scalp condition, sometimes a lot of carbs like bread and yeast, and most of the time when you have like psoriasis, seborrheic dermatitis, and eczema, you having some inflammation in your body too. So there's certain foods that can be inflammatory to your body. So some of my clients, yeast, like bread, is a trigger. Some of them is coffee. Okay, dairy can do it, can cause inflammation to flare up. Eating a whole lot of processed foods can cause people to have flare-ups in their scalp. So really pay attention to your diet. Like if you start to notice like, oh, when I eat more of this food, I have more flakes. Okay, when I stay away from that food, I notice I don't have as many flakes. So keep that in mind too. Also too, if you're dealing with just dry scalp in general, increase your water. Increase your water. Yes, we can do the stuff on the outside, but I also want to preface this video by saying, like, we also had to take care of our temples. Like, our body is a temple, so we got to take care of our temples. So yes, I can give you all the shampoos I would recommend. Yes, you can go to the dermatologist and they can give you official diagnosis. They can give you the right shampoos, but also paired along with that, we need to make sure we're drinking enough water and making sure we're getting some good amount of protein in our diet, some fiber, and we're staying away. Not saying you can't have, like, processed food, or you can't have, this and that, but if you eat too much of that, you're going to have a flare up in your scalp. So do those things, obviously, in moderation. Don't overdo it. So I hope this video was helpful to y'all. I hope y'all learned something. Please share this video out if it was helpful, and I will see you on another video. Bye.